Hey, welcome back to the Works Podcast. It has been a while since I was doing this seriously, but I'm back. Before I start, I want to talk a little bit about where I've been and why I've been so quiet over the last few months. My last review was just over 8 months ago, but even before that, I was feeling a change. I have always been an avid news consumer, even as a kid. I was raised in a political household. Knowing what was going on and what was happening in our government and around the world was a point of pride and served for a lot of stimulating conversations growing up. Around the time of the writer's strike back in 2023, I was beginning to feel, well, bad. You don't need to be a journalist to see where the trends in this country are heading. As a gay Jewish man with a Palestinian grandparent, I felt uniquely positioned in this moment where everything felt important, or maybe even personal. As the months evolved and things kept getting worse, I also kept getting worse. I felt this sense of isolation and impending doom, and every time a new fear arose, the people in power would very often validate those worries, usually quicker than expected. When the current administration seized power, I sank into a bit of despair. Movies, the earliest passion and dreams of mine, suddenly felt insufficient. With all the chaos engulfing the world and the threats of AI making us question everything we see, truth started to become this elusive concept to me. I remember at one point watching The Iron Claw, a really good movie, and finding myself distracted, thinking, could an AI replace this? If it did, would I want to be in that world? Would I even know the realities of the world around me if everything could be a deep fake? I began to question my own existence and my own place of being in a country sliding into authoritarianism. As a filmmaker, movies suddenly felt dishonest and not enough to counter this moment. These movies are made with the money from the companies and investors that very much bought this presidency and effectively destroyed our lives for the foreseeable future. And even if they weren't funded by these new techno-fascist oligarchs, I still felt that all-consuming feeling that this was coming to an end. All this beautiful community of artists and filmmakers I had worked my entire life to be a part of was beginning to feel like the walls were caving in. I kept writing reviews, making videos, but it just wasn't enough. My writings began to really change. I would watch the news or see some new disturbing headline, and these bursts of rage would just come spilling out into my notes. Eventually that rage began to take shape. Rhymes first, then full songs. They began to bring structure to the chaos of what I perceived to be the end of everything we hold dear and value. Since high school, I had dabbled in metal and electronic music. At some point, though, I met Xavier Mamie, a brilliant producer. I took the opportunity and we began working on my first EP, When It All Comes Crashing Down. I call myself Protest Art, a moniker I have been using since I was in high school, making my first song. This place I could channel all of my rage and existential dread into creating music. As things continued to get worse, it only seemed to make me double and triple down on protest art. It was giving me something to believe in and work towards. I liked that it was angry because I'm angry. I liked that it was scary because I'm scared. I liked that I could be loud and gay and proud and strong without feeling vulnerable. When I started performing the songs live, I felt a shift. I felt myself latch onto something new and meaningful, and dare I say, hopeful. All through last year, I focused primarily on making my album Stories from the End. I don't know if I would go as far to say that making this album saved my life, but it meant something to me when the future just felt incredibly bleak. That album is now done, and it's out. Stories from the End is a project that kept me sane and gave me something to believe in when all of the world wanted to give was chaos and collapse. One of my favorite quotes is from Jon Stewart, who has repeated this phrase over and over again throughout the years. We have to fight for the world we want. Protest art is the only way I know how to fight. Creating art in a time of censorship and control is the only way I knew how to respond to this moment. This album is for you, as much as it is for me. I know it is cynical and angry, and I know it's something not for everyone, but I urge you to give it a listen. This project meant the whole world to me, and I hope it means that for some of you someday too.